Hello everyone and welcome. It's Chef Jason Morris, your Ace Hardware Grill expert, and thanks for joining us for another episode of Ace This Recipe. That's right, every Thursday for the next 52 weeks and hopefully beyond, we're gonna have a new recipe for you and a video really designed to help make you that legend in the backyard cooking circuit. So we're glad that you decided to hang with us today. We're talking all things prime rib. That's right, we're gonna walk you through a lot of steps and a lot of tips and tricks to make really the most ultimate prime rib possible for your next event, your next holiday celebration, and more. We're super helpful too. So down in the comment section below, Allison's got a few links for you. So click, print, and follow along. That's really what it's all about. Get down into that comment section. You can print this recipe, prime rib tips. We've got a horseradish sauce, au jus, and a lot of cool things for you down below. And while you're in that comment section, hey, let us know what you want to see. What can we teach you? What can we show you? And how can we be more helpful to you when it comes to all things barbecuing and grilling? Leave us a comment. Tell us what you'd like to see or what you would like to learn. And be sure to share this page. Tell your friends, tell your family. Get down there and hit that subscribe button. That's how you're going to be notified when our next Ace This Recipe video is live. Up top, we have that little eye that's gonna pop up from time to time. That is our information. That gives you a little glimpse or a little insight into the world of barbecue. So click on that eye. It'll show you the gear, the gadgets, the grills, really all the stuff that we're using. So today, prime rib, big green egg. We're gonna walk you through a lot of the steps. We're gonna show you how to layer some wood chunks in the big green egg to add some flavor. We're gonna talk a little bit about the eye grill. We've got a lot of cool content to show you, and we're even gonna tell you how to pick and select the best prime rib at your local butcher, grocery store, or grocery club. So thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to cook with us. So without further ado, we're gonna do what we always do. We're gonna give you a little food flyover, talk a lot about the ingredients we're using, give you some insight into that. Then we're gonna do a gear flyover and show you the cool gear that we're using as well. We have a lot of fun things, a lot of cool ideas as well. So thanks for joining us. We are going to get cooking. So it's time to ace this recipe. So this is pretty simple and easy, right? This is our little food flyover. Today's recipe, not a lot of ingredients. We need a beautiful, gorgeous, delicious prime rib, and we need a couple seasonings. We're gonna do a rub-a-dub and a prime rib rub-a-dub, two of our rubs, and we're gonna do a little collaboration session. So we're gonna mix them together today to add even a little bit more flavor. But look at these guys here. Look at those two ribeyes. What is a prime rib? Well, prime rib is one of the 9 primal cuts of beef. Right? So what we did today is we picked a couple smaller pieces of prime rib because we wanted to make sure that we didn't have too much. We don't want to be wasteful, and we're cooking for a smaller crowd today. But on our prime rib recipe sheet and tip sheet, it'll tell you how to pick the weight of prime rib needed to serve each person. Look at the marbling on here. Look at all this marbling right there. That is delicious. That's fat, right? And we always say fat adds flavor, fat adds moisture. So we're looking for a ribeye, prime rib that's got a beautiful amount of marbling in it. That's kind of what we're looking for. We found it in that guy. We have a beautiful kernel. We have nice ribbons of marbling. And this one is bone in, because we're gonna talk a little bit about bone in or bone off, because there's a huge argument, a huge discussion that goes on every year. Do I need it with the bones, without the bones? And we'll just walk you through what we prefer. Here is our bone out prime rib. Look at that, still a beautiful kernel of fat in the middle, beautiful marbling as well. These are both choice, right? Choice is a grade, and that's gonna have abundant marbling to it. It is gonna be beautiful and juicy and delicious. And then these guys here, the prime rib rub-a-dub and the regular rub-a-dub, that's gonna be what takes the flavor really to the next level. We're doing it simple, we're doing it easy. I love beef because it tastes fantastic. I want to showcase that beautiful beef flavor. I don't want to cover it, I don't want to mask it. So today is all about how to enhance the flavor of beef, how to really let the big green egg charcoal shine through, to let a little bit of that wood flavor come through, but then also how to let these rubs do their job and do their trick. So next up, we're gonna do a little gear flyover, and then we're coming back to get this prime rib prepped and ready for smoke time. That right there is the ultimate cooking experience. They couldn't have come up with a better tagline than that. It does such a great job of everything from low and slow barbecue to intermediate cooking to hot and fast to pizzas. The Big Green Egg really performs. We're excited to have this today. because we love that big, bold charcoal flavor in our prime rib. This is our large egg in our modular nest that we've got. We are using our Big Green Egg Premium lump as well. We're gonna throw in some Ozark sugar maple chunks, really to layer some flavor in there, make it even more fantastic. Starting off and lighting our fire today is gonna be the LooftLighter. You can use fire starters. We love the Looft because it really gets us up and running fast. And then, you know, we love technology. We're a huge fan of the Weber iGrill. We're gonna use the iGrill 2 today. That beautiful head unit right there can handle 4 probes. The awesome thing about it, sends it to our phone, so now we get to track this on that from the comfort of our couch. So that's the gear we're using today. Pretty excited. It is time for us next to walk you through how we're gonna prep the prime rib and get everything ready for the Big Green Egg. Well, like I said, this is our bone out ribeye. So this is bone free. We are set to go. We're gonna do a couple different things. I'm gonna start off with a little bit of rub-a-dub because I wanna get that on here. And you'll notice when you let this rest a little bit, you've got a really nice tacky surface. I'm gonna pack that on there just a little bit and go as light or as heavy as you want. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna flip it up and get this side and roll it and get the back side. I'll get the underside, we'll get the back side as well. And then I will put it down on that side. What I'm gonna do now is let this sit for just a minute longer. I want that rub to kind of soak in just a little bit. And then I'm gonna top it with a little bit of prime rib rub-a-dub. This is gonna give us a little more rosemary flavor, a little more garlic. And like I said, I'm going to top it. I'm gonna put this just on the top side, let everything else do its work down below. But now I'm set. How long do I let this sit? I'm gonna give this about 12 to 16 hours or more. I don't mind if I even get into 24 hours. I want as much of that rub to soak into the meat as possible. I'll throw some plastic wrap over this and I'll put it in the fridge. Chef's tip for you, you can also wrap this just by itself in plastic wrap, set it in a pan and put it in the fridge. But we're gonna go ahead and cover this guy up and get it in the fridge. And next we're gonna show you the bone-in prime rib, how to take that bone off and how to season that as well. A couple different things you can do. This is our bone-in prime rib. And you have a choice. You can have the butcher cut these bones off and leave them back on here, or you can do it yourself. Keep in mind, when it comes to a bone-in prime rib, yeah, you're paying a little bit more for something that you may not eat. So that's totally up to you. What I like to do is follow right along the bones like that. And see what I'm doing is I'm just making my first cut. Now I'm gonna stay right on the bones. Then I'm gonna rotate this guy a little bit and I'll stay right on the bone there, just slowly pulling it away because I wanna make sure that I do this. I wanna trim right along the bones. I don't want to have to cut any meat or have any loss. I wanna just trim right on the bone. Now the great thing with this, once again, we can season this just like we did before. So we'll put this in the pan. I'll leave that open like that, right? Now we'll take our glove off and then we'll do the same thing again. But here's one of the reasons some people think this is a little bit better. What I can do now is I can season inside here, right? Get that all set and ready. I can do a little of the prime rib rub in there. Now look at that. I can close that up and I have a little bit better seasoning in there. You're gonna get a little bit of different flavor from that bone profile. Me, personally, I'm all about instant gratification. I like this guy right here. I like this being all set and done, not having a lot of work to do. I don't know that there is an appreciable difference having it bone in when it comes to flavor. So we'll go ahead and do the same thing on here. We're gonna get this all set and ready to go, just like we did before. And I'm gonna leave it. I'm not gonna tie this up yet. I'm gonna tie it before it comes time to wrap it. But we're gonna let it sit for just a couple minutes with all of this yumminess on here as well. So we get the top side, the back, the front, everything. We'll let that guy sit like that. Get a little bit more rub on there like that. And finish it with a little bit of prime rib. I'm gonna let this stay for just a minute, but what I am gonna do is use a little bit of butcher's twine. I'm gonna put a couple, probably 3 pieces of twine on here so I can tie that bone up so it doesn't shrink, it doesn't flop, it holds it together. So a little bit more prep work involved in the bone-in prime rib than the boneless prime rib, but you are the one that gets to decide if you like that flavor and that's something you want. So we'll go ahead next, tie this up real quick, and then we're gonna get the Big Green Egg ready and set and get it loaded with some wood chunks in there, get ready to cook. I went ahead and cut my butcher's twine a little bit ahead of time just to make it a little easier. What I'm gonna do now is basically, I'm just gonna put 3 of them on here. But I wanna tie the bone down because I wanna make sure this guy stays together and doesn't separate. So I will give it a quick little tie here and we are set with that one. I don't worry about any excess hanging off here. It's not gonna be exposed to the flames in the big green egg, so I don't have anything to worry about. But if you want, you can go ahead and trim it. All right, we'll tie number 2. Give it a good cinch. Give it a good tie. Great, and we're going to finish up with number 3. So pretty quick and simple, nothing too drastic, right? Just maybe a 5-minute more process or a 5-minute more worth of time in the process of cooking your prime rib. But like you can see here, now that that's all tied and set, this one's all wrapped and ready to go. We're set. Okay, so you can see we added some wood chunks in here. These are our sugar maple chunks. These do a great job. These are really nice. They're big, and I didn't soak them. I left them dry because I want them to slowly kind of smolder a little bit before they catch on, but dry, I like that. It's perfect. It does a really nice job. And like I said, we're gonna use the LooftLighter. Got a nice ember pile in there. We'll pull this fan back a little bit, pull the loof back a little bit, let that fan do its work. I have the bottom vent on the big green egg wide open. I'm trying to draw in as much air as possible, and I have the top vent open. But what I really want to do is establish a gorgeous fire here in the middle, get it going. And as this starts to climb, once it hits 200 degrees, I'm going to put the convector in or the plate setter in. I'm going to push some of that lump charcoal in the middle, and then we'll let this thing climb to its roasting temperature at 325 to 350 degrees. So look at that. Beautiful fire going. I get up and running fast with that loof. That's what I appreciate about this. We're making that climb to 200. We just are a couple degrees away. Like I said, I'm going to now level that off a little bit. And now I'm gonna add my convector or plate setter in as well. I don't wanna add it in when the grill's 300 degrees and the convector's not, because that'll have a little shock to the system, so to speak. And we wanna make sure this guy stays perfect. So I'm not adding a drip pan. I'm gonna show you why, because we're actually gonna have the prime rib in its own pan, but we're gonna go ahead and close this. Now we're gonna let that temperature climb. Look at that smoke coming out of there. That's the sign we did a great job loading the sugar maple chunks in there to get a really good, even, sustained smoke. So we're at 350 degrees. We just loaded in our roasting pan with our roasting rack. We're gonna go ahead and put our iGrill 2 probe right into the middle so we can track the very dead center temperature. The beautiful thing about the iGrill now is this little guy here is gonna let us track it from the comfort of our couch. So we're at 350. We're gonna go ahead and shut this so that we can start the cooking process. We are roasting away, and look at that. We're starting to get beautiful bronzing on there, and that's one of the reasons we start off at 350. We want to get a good sear on here and really make sure that we lock in and retain as much of the juices as possible while this prime rib takes its time cooking. And we're looking at, you know, on an average prime rib, a couple hours of cook time. And again, on the downloadable sheet that we have for you, go in there and it'll give you a nice little grid for estimated cooking times and more. But we're gonna shut the lid and keep going. So we are all dialed and adjusted, holding at 350 degrees, and you can see on the regulator, I have just a small opening up top, and then if you look at the bottom, we're back to what we normally do. So we like to leave the bottom, a big chunk of it open, and then we choke off the rest kind of with the screen and a little bit with the flap as well. And what that does is helps kind of keep the egg loaded. So it allows a lot of air to go in, and then we slow it down on the way out with the regulator. And I think for me, this is a better way of controlling temperature. So we're set and ready to go. Let's take a sneak peek in here. And that is gorgeous. So we're at 80 degrees. We're gonna take this to about 115. So once the iGrill hits 115 degrees, we're gonna pull it and let it rest. But this was an 8-pound prime rib. So we're looking at about an hour and a half to an hour and 45 minutes. We'll get this closed and we are gonna finish it up. Wow, what happened right there? I'll tell you what happened. That was quality control and quality assurance. I took it for the team. I'm sorry I had to do it, but I wanted to make sure it was wonderful and fantastic. I'll tell you what, the outside pieces of this prime rib is like the most concentrated, delicious beef flavor there is. So thanks so much for joining us today for this edition of Ace This Recipe. And speaking of recipe. This guy right here, Allison, has these links down below in the comment section. You could print off prime rib, au jus, and horseradish. They're all set down there. Click them, print them, follow along with us as we cook through this. And while you're down there in the comment section, let us know what you'd like to learn. What can we teach you? Or what questions do you have that'll help make you the legend in the backyard barbecue circuit? That's right. And then while you're down there too, don't forget, wait. Click on that little bell, that subscribe. That will tell you when our next Ace This recipe is live and ready for your viewing and enjoying pleasure. We are coming at you every single Thursday with a new edition of Ace This recipe. We thank you so much for taking the time to cook along with us. Be sure to click on that little eye up top. That's the information station. That'll tell you all the gear, gadgets, and grills we use today. So thanks again. We appreciate you. We appreciate cooking with you. We hope you enjoyed. I'm Chef Jason Morse, your Ace Hardware Grill expert, and I'll see you next Thursday for another edition of Ace This Recipe.